Guys, like I said, I'll be demonstrating how to cut a shirt, and that's what we are going to do quickly right now. So I'll be in the process of the cutting. I'll be reminding you of the formulas I just gave you a while ago, so that in fact I'll be asking some questions while I'll be cutting. I'll be expecting you to be answering those questions where you are. All right, but before we even do that at all, I would like us to consider the measurement we are working with right now, because we cannot cut without having a measurement. We must have a real measurement of a real client to work with. Okay, for instance, we are considering the measurement of a real client of length. The length of the shirt is 34. The shoulder of the client is 18. The chest of the client is 42. The waist of the client is 40. The hip of the client is 43. The sleeve of the client is 10, and the neck of the client, N is denoted for neck, is 17 inches. All these are in inches: 34 inches, 18 inches, 42 inches, 40 inches, 43 inches, okay, 10 inches, 17 inches. All right, so this is the measurement we are working with. All right, quickly let's go and do the cutting. All right, for length 34, as I've said earlier when I was giving you the formula, you are going to add 6 inches to length. 6 inches to length. So this 34, you are now cutting out 40, because 34 plus 6 is 40, of course. So that's what you are cutting out of the fabric. This is the fabric. As much as it is, you just cut out 40. That's 34 plus 6 inches, 40 inches, and you cut it out quickly. You cut it out quickly. Okay, cut it out quickly. All right, so that's for that. Okay, now this is your 40 inches. 40 inches. You see that? 40 inches. As you can see, the length, the actual length of the client's shirt is 34. You now added 6 inches to make it 40. Now when you have done this, the next thing you will do, because what we are cutting, what type of shirt are we cutting now, is senator shirt. Senator shirt. Senator shirt. So what you do is to divide in one of my earlier videos, when I was teaching you how to cut a trouser, I demonstrated to you that materials come like this: two front parts, two open parts, and the other part is not open, it's folded, as you can see. So I want you to cut through the folded part. Just cut it out so that you have two pieces separately like this. So when you do that, you quickly fold each piece. So you fold the first one into two. You also fold the second one into two like this. Also fold the second one into two like this. So you place one on top of the other, just the way I'm doing now. You place one on top of the other. Okay, all right. So you see, you have a folded edge, two folded edges on each other like this. All right, a shirt, a senator shirt is made up of basically the front part and the back part, two parts, then the sleeve, the hand. So the upper one is the back part, the down one is the front part. So that's what's here. So thank you. Quickly, we just go straight to the dimensions, the measurements, as I've said earlier. Now, considering the measurements that we are considering here, the length of the shirt is 34, the shoulder is 18, the chest is 42, the waist is 40, the waist is 40, the hip is 43, the sleeve is 10, and the neck is 17. All right. I gave the formulas how they are being done. I'll be refreshing your mind as I'm cutting right now. Okay, for the length, I said earlier that whatever the length is, you are going to add 6 inches. For the shoulder, you are dividing it by 2. You are adding ½ inch. Now we are going to demonstrate that, and also remember that there is something we call the shoulder bend. The shoulder bend, you know, the shoulder of a human being is not straight, there is a little bend. So we are going to also achieve that from the cutting right now. I'm going to demonstrate to you how to get the shoulder bend right now. So this is how to go about it. To get the shoulder bend, you are going to divide the shoulder, the actual shoulder, divided by 2. In this case, the actual shoulder is 18, dividing it by 2 is 9. Then you will add ½ inch to it. So that's 9.5, like this, 9.5. So on this position, you are going to measure 3 inches inward into the material, 3 inches into the material, and you put a mark. So when you put the mark, you now use your ruler. You use your ruler to connect the dots. You use your ruler to connect the dots like this, okay. So this bend is what we call the shoulder bend. This bend is what we call the shoulder bend. All right, that being done, the next we are going to do is to measure the armhole, as it were. Or before we go to the armhole, just cut out the shoulder bend as you have achieved it like this. Okay, so this is what we have. So straight, what you have to do is to cut the neck. Let us start with the neck. Now the neck we are considering in this case is 17. The neck we are considering is neck 17, and the neck also consists of 2 components: the front component of the neck and the back component of the neck. So like I said earlier, this one that is on top, these pieces on top, is for the back part. So we are going to see how to achieve the neck, the accurate neck cutting on the fabric. So since the neck is divided into 2, front component of the neck and back component of the neck, so this is how we go about it. So the back component is going to carry, for a matured person, please take note of what I'm saying. This explanation is for a matured person whose neck is between 15 to 17, even to 18. From 15 to 18 or 18 and a half, this formula I'm about to give applies. So you are going to use 3.5 inch vertically, that's horizontally. This is horizontal, this is vertical. So you are using 3.5 inches horizontally like this. Then you are going to use 2 inches vertically, 3.5 inch horizontally, 2 inches vertically. Then you are going to use your the small component of your French curve to connect the 2 dots together, as I want to demonstrate now. as I want to demonstrate now. So you are going to use this very component of your French curve to do that. So you see, so this is what you are using to connect the dots. Connect these two dots together like this neatly. Like I said earlier, French curve is used for anything that has to do with curve at all. So please take note that this curve you just draw on this fabric is only affecting the back part alone. So as you can see, I'm lifting it, there is still the front part down. Don't make the mistake of cutting all together. No, you're only cutting this one out like this. Okay, so when you do, like I said, it has two components, the back component and the front component of the neck. So for you to get the front component of the neck, now you have to turn it this way. You have to turn it this way. Then you now draw this upper part, which is the front component of the shirt. Draw it sufficiently enough such that the back component will now lap on the front component like this. Lap like this. And it's lapping in such a way that you will now have a straight part at the neck part here. When you do this, for instance, as you're lapping, you see this? When you do this, it's wrong. This is not correct lapping. And if you also do this as lapping, it's wrong. This is not correct lapping. So when you lap it this way, as I've done, getting a straight part here is accurate. This is how the lapping is supposed to be. So when you have properly lapped it, the front is lapping the back is lapping on the front component of the shirt. The next thing for you to do is to obtain the round part, the other part of the neck, the front component of the neck, that make it a complete neck for the client to wear. So from what we have done so far, this back component that we cut like this is 10 inches. 10 inches is out of the neck that you measured, the actual neck that you measured of the client. So this back part has taken care of 10 inches. So like I said earlier, the measurement of the client that we used for the neck was 17. So 10 inches is out of 10 inches is out of this 17. We are left with 7 inches. So what do we do with the 7 inches now? Okay, this is what you do. 7 inches, you are dividing 7 inches by 2. When you divide 7 inches by 2, you are going to get 3.5. So we are dividing it by 2 because this front part consists of 2, is folded into 2. So the 7 inches is divided across the 2. So that's why you are dividing it into 2. So 7 inches divided by 2, that's 3.5 or 3.5, as the case might be. So you are going to measure 3 inches. 3 inches. Like I said, you divide 7 divided by 2 is 3.5 inch. But you are using 3 inches, not 3.5 inch, because there is going to be a curve here like this. This curve is not like a straight line. The curve is going to take that ½ inch. Instead of using 3.5 here, instead of using 3.5 here, because 7 is divided by 2 is 3.5, we are using 3 because this ½ inch is going to be taken care of from the curve we are going to get here. Curve always takes some inches, so please take note of that. So when you have this your mark, you now make use of your French curve to obtain the curve. Remember what I told you in the earlier videos, that anytime you have curve, the best instrument to use to obtain the perfect curve is the French curve. So this is what you do. You connect the curve, you connect the front component with the back component by the use of a curve like this. Use of a curve like this. Like this. So you can see. So this is what we have. A connect it with a curve. So you have this. So quickly you just cut it off. So like I said just a few minutes ago, this very curve you are seeing is what is taking care of that half inch. That half inch, instead of using 3.5, we use 3 because of this curve. This curve is taking that half inch difference. So you just cut it out like this. Please observe what I'm doing. You are not going to do this. For instance, you will not do this, but you are going to cut across the back a little to get a perfect curve like this. So this is what you do. That little part of the back that you cut out is a little error due to cutting and things like that. So you just do that to get a perfect curve. So you don't just say because the back stopped there, you have to come and cut the front differently from the back. No, you just join them together and just obtain a very sweet and perfect curve as I've just done. So when this is done, the next thing you do is to now measure the actual shoulder of the client, and if you remember, this is the formula, this is the measurement of the client we are considering. The actual shoulder of the client is 18, as you can see. So you are dividing 18 by 2. Dividing 18 by 2 is 9. Now you are going to add half inch for sewing allowance. So you are using 9.5 in this case. So you are going to put a mark. So after putting this mark, we are going to now obtain the armhole. The armhole, where the arm is going to fit into on the clothes, on the cloth itself. So how do we get the armhole? What is the formula for the armhole? The formula for the armhole is the chest measurement divided by 4. The chest measurement divided by 4. The chest measurement, actual chest measurement of the client is 42. When you divide 42 divided by 4, you are going to have 10.5. So 10.5 is the armhole for this very client. Now how do you obtain that? You are going to measure 7 inches and put a mark. Please follow me. I will explain that. 7 inches and put a mark like this. So you are going to use your ruler to create a perfect angle there. You are going to use your ruler to create a perfect angle there, like this. Like this. From here to here is 7 inches. So you now create a 90-degree angle there. Now, why do we do this? We do this because, like I said, the armhole is 10.5 inches now for this client. Now, the armhole always have a curve also around here. The armhole is actually a continuous curve like this. So from here, from this very edge, from this angle point down here is usually 3 inches. It's usually 3 inches or 3.5 inches sometimes, as the case might be. So in this case is 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inch plus 7 inch that you have here will give you 10.5 inch, which is the armhole of this particular client now. So that's the reason why we measure 7 inch from here. If you measure 10 inch continuously from here to here, the 10 inch plus that 3 inch curve, it will not be too much. It will no longer be the normal armhole for the client. It will now be like 13.5 inches, which is way too much. Way too much. So the formula and the technique in getting the armhole correctly is what I just demonstrated right now. You measure 7 inches